nah, man. So apparently
Oh,
now
it's cool. It even said it's recording on my end here too. That's trippy.
it's recording on my end. You hearing two of me?
No, it just says it's recording on my end. I can see it on my screen here too. That's trippy.
Oh yes, to let you know as well. Yes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but at least no. But it's like to let you know, right? So you don't,
Mm-hmm.
because if I hit record, but you didn't know, that would kind of suck, right? No, he's spying on me. He's spying on me.
We weren't recording this. That'd be a bit sus.
But
Yeah.
yeah, man, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I can't complain. 2020 was crazy. That's about it.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%, man. It's a different approach. I looked at it like we tried so many times, and there were a lot of just terrible things that happened. But in certain people's lives, there are a lot of great things that happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it's weird. Oh, it's if somehow I'm lagging, it just for 30 seconds, it just said my internet connection is unstable, and I'm thinking that sums up 2020.
Yeah, pretty much. Eh?
Yeah, just unstable internet connection, cutting out all that,
It's the
all
video.
that.
It's the video for
So if
you
you hear
right
like a bit of
now.
a delay, my bad, man. But
It's just the video for you. Your
that's
audio's on point right now.
that's what I'm saying. And the only reason why the video's kind of, don't get me wrong, I could be a situation where I have it set on a low resolution or something. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't check that like beforehand as far as on my actual laptop settings.
Mm-hmm.
But just for now, we can kind of kick it like this, because don't get me wrong, that's why I was gonna just jump on my phone. But if I jump on my phone, I don't know if I can still be in like the same, like you have to be logged in one situation. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you
Mm-hmm.
can have the phone and your laptop both like recording, like you know what I mean, like as if you're on a conference with both.
I
Because like I
couldn't
tried
tell
to
you with
log in
that
on
one.
my phone, it wasn't having was no, yeah. Like she was rejecting me, bro. I was signing in, it was saying login information incorrect, but I know it's the right information because I wrote it down. So that's why I'm like, okay, it's clearly not letting me log on to accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, it's just I knew it would have been a bit clearer, the visual aspect. But yeah, man, regardless, I mean, all we can do is day to day it right now, right? As far as like just seeing, and I'm gonna check out the resolution in a second. But yo, okay, so I'm gonna, I don't know, like, do you want to have like a longer, like, do you want to like stop this one, hear the audio for a second, and then like, okay, this is doable, or do you want to have it where we just kind of let it run for a bit and just converse,
We can let it run for a bit,
because
honestly,
like as
because
far, all right, that's what's
I
up,
have a
that's what's up.
feeling I know where the audio is going to be at this point in time. Because you're good. Like I can hear you and everything. It's just like the connection, basically.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, man, it's like I'm trying to see why it would be, yeah, because I should be good in the sense of like as far as like the distance from the actual router and such. Don't get me wrong, like I think it's more like, I mean, also like unfortunately, like, well, just like for this current stack and like as we're recording, because there's other people on it, right? But other than
Mm-hmm.
that, like the Wi-Fi or whatever. But other than that, like, granted, we choose to record it at a different time where like it's just me kicking and doing my thing on it. Like, of course, it'll be way clearer, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh
But
yeah.
even for now, as long as we don't have any choppy, because right now I'm seeing you're not necessarily lagging, et cetera, et cetera. That's why it's like I can tell by that aspect that it's running pretty smooth. But other than that, man, it's funny because I know we're just kind of talking about like miscellaneous stuff and like the Wi-Fi connection and stuff, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's in my opinion, it's like a weird representation of like the year that just passed, and like as messed up as it is, kind of sort of like how this year's beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's people think like, oh, 2021, and then automatically all the things of last year just stop. But come on, man, it's like it's still rolling over into this year. What are your
Yep.
thoughts on that, man?
It's pretty much you pretty much nailed it. Like it's now December. It feels like just December like continued on basically.
Extended.
If you really want to look at it like that, it's honestly. But what you're saying earlier, like 2020 was good from like even like all this crazy like lockdown stuff for me was fine up until about October. And then from October on, it just got shit. And here we are.
Terrible. No, it's like even today, like I mean, we're up here in Ontario, Canada, and it's like I'm sure you got the alert sent to your phone too about how it's like, oh, it's gonna be like what do they call it? Something enforced where it's like only
Stay at
need for
home. Stay at
essential
home order.
travels and stuff like that. And it's like, I get it. Yeah, stay at home orders. Sorry, that's what they call it. And you think about it, like, I get it. We're trying to make sure we save lives and such, but you gotta think about it. How do you go above and beyond to tell people, like, especially, let's just say, for example, if you're vaccinated, for example, if you're vaccinated, you had your 2 shots and you feel like that's the route you want to go and you feel like it's effective, there should be some type of, you should have some type of like ability where it's like, hey, bro, like I'm vaccinated. I'm saying, say you took that route.
An
I want to be able to,
exemption.
I want to say, like, they should have some type of immunity or whatever to the situation where it's like, all right, I'm going to be living my life, because at the end of the day, you're going to tell people who, oh, you haven't been vaccinated, stay home, or you have a medical condition, stay home, basically telling everyone to stay home unless you're going to work, to exercise, to groceries, or for essential travel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, what classifies all these things? And who's true? Like, is it going to be a situation, Trent, where you start to get carded as far as like, show me the idea of your employment that you're going there right this second. We need to call somebody there to confirm that you're starting at 12 noon or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's how it was
Who's
in
going to be there to
Spain.
confirm these things?
That's how it was in Spain. My
Mm.
cousins were living over there, and they're telling me about
Mm.
it. Like they could only be out at certain.
Elaborate on it.
They,
Yeah, elaborate on it.
they could only be out at like certain times. They had to have like, if they like in this area, you can only go do your groceries between these hours, and then the next this neighborhood, so on and so forth, sort of thing. They had cards and everything. If you didn't have your ID cards, they'd throw you in jail. Like they wouldn't even find you; they just throw you straight in jail.
Dang.
Like they weren't playing games over there with it.
See, that's some nonsense.
But here we are. Everything's still the
Dang.
same. The only place I've seen like nip it in the bud completely,
Oh, really?
like actually like completely lock down and do well with it is like Southeast Asia, like Vietnam and Thailand, all them. Because they're out having like they had like
Wow.
a whole like 2,000 people like freaking like music festival late last year. No masks, nothing.
But that's wild when you think about it, man. Like, to have like just to still be like, to have that type of courage, like, hey, man, and we feel like we got, like, whether it's like herd immunity or whatever, and it's like, yo, man, we feel like we're confident enough to have like some type of concert or some type of situation where there's a huge gathering of people, like, and at the same time going into that situation, is like, I'm sure everybody's probably getting maybe the temperature check at the door, but like, who's to say they all got, I don't know, that's a wild because you even seen some of the, for example, some of the comedians, whatever, they would have shows, but they'd have like Dave Chappelle, he was fortunate enough to have like a big piece of land where
Mm-hmm.
he's just out here, just he has people spaced apart, but of course not everybody can do that, right? Like, not every state is warm like California or like Florida or whatever, like, or every place as far as for you to be outside. I mean, at least for that little previous few months we just had, like,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still in, right? Now that it's going into a warmer situation, maybe we can have a little bit of outdoor situations. Like, for example, if you've ever been to like the amphitheater in Toronto, like, to be able to space out a lot of people within that place, like at the like Ontario place or whatever, like the Budweiser
Mm-hmm.
amphitheater. Yo, we're like, for you to have a comedy show, let's just say it sat 15,000. Let's just say, for example, you can still get a strong like 6,000 people in there. Granted, you spaced them all out correctly, you know, or like, give or take. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's still a fraction of what you were making, but at the same time, it's like you have the opportunity to achieve, like, granted, like, I know the whole money, capitalism, all that is like just like that's trifles in this grand scheme of this whole thing. But I'm saying, granted, you were trying to salvage a little something. Then, granted, when it gets warm, we can be able to like have shows where like you don't have as many people, but you still have some people, like a
Mm-hmm.
fraction, right? Where you see some people doing it, and then people are saying like, then it's not good because, yeah, right. That's the thing. Fingers crossed. Like, it's like, and I'm hoping we get there, right? I'm hoping when we get there. But it's tricky when you think about it, because I'm not trying to just perpetuate the negative, saying like, oh, everybody's stupid for doing this or blah blah. Like that's not really how I think. But here in Ontario specifically, like there needs to be a lot more clarity on what's going on, man. Like because people can keep saying stuff like, "Oh, the ICU beds are all full and the hospitals are all full," and then you go to some of these hospitals and that's not exactly the case. I'm not saying it's inaccurate completely, but it's not exactly the case. And then you're like, I'm not here to judge, but I'm looking at it a little different. I'm not here to say that people aren't being affected severely by this, but some people aren't, and it's not that. It's not, in my opinion, it's not about judgment. Like it affects everyone differently, in my opinion, because you see that it's affecting everyone differently. Although the same rules got to be implemented to everybody. I don't know, man. It's a different approach. I'm definitely looking forward to a better 2021, though. Like I'm just saying, mentally, bro. Like even like with you and with other family members, trying to have more connections, trying to build more bonds and stuff. That's something that I'm trying to do and that I've been doing from last year because I've had a little bit more time. What are your thoughts on that type of stuff?
Yeah, it hasn't been most of 2020 for me doing that because I haven't been able to hang out with everybody like I used to be able to. But definitely like the last half or so, I've definitely like found like sort of like a new group sort of thing. It's the only way I can say it. Like new people I've been hanging out with, even though they're not really new people. It's just a new group
like
dynamic.
Different faces.
Yeah, pretty much, but it's not. It's not at the same time because it's pool and it's just a bunch of other people we like went to school with and stuff like that too. Like, so it's just like, oh, okay, now we're all hanging together again. But it's really, it's cool. I really like it. It's just that, and then my other friends, like I call them my day ones, but like, it's just good. It's just good just to be out and have like these people that you're able to talk to and stuff like even just being able to do this or just like messaging people over Instagram and stuff like that. Like, man, I saw a meme about this, but if this had happened like in 1997 or something like that, it would have been fucking terrible. Like none of this, like,
no, for real.
Like, man, no way.
Yeah.
We got lucky with that one.
Sending letters. We're still sending letters. Yeah. In
Smoke
the context
signals
of us being able to communicate, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Yeah, man. You're like sending pigeons with the note tied on their leg. Bro, you trying to send messages via pigeon? Like that's terrible.
Man, that's too much.
You're saying stuff from like Shakespearean times, like make sure my maiden gets this message of my love, and just throw the
message
thing,
in a bottle.
Just starts flying. Yeah, like, but that's the type of nonsense that they were on. Like, I mean, for example, 1997 would be terrible because could you imagine this in like the 50s, bro? That's when they had those what are those like the phones with the rotator phone or whatever.
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah.
when they mess with those.
Oh yeah,
like, bro,
I know exactly what you're talking about. My grandmother had one of those.
You might as well have two. Sorry.
My grandmother had one of those, like the phones like that, up until about like 5-10 years ago. I'm not lying about that either.
But that's okay because
no answering machine, nothing.
And yeah, she grew up in that time.
Exactly.
She grew up in that time, though, right? That's what's so dope about it. But I mean, I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of if you're gonna have like, I mean, but at the same time, I'm not saying specifically the 50s because obviously racial tensions and all that, but I'm saying like in those like maybe the 70s ish, like as far as like a little bit better as far as like, but it's like if you were to have like Jimi Hendrix playing in the background, like those simpler times, you know what I mean? Like where you and your homie can just kick it when you burn in a doobie or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you can do that now, but it's like you have so much fear and nonsense around it where it's like, oh, I mean, it's legal now, but it's like from a different time where it's like, oh, we don't get busted if we out here on the, you know what I mean? Like, like most people didn't really care, but I'm just saying some people still had that fear of it, right? Like not want to get in trouble for, you know what I mean? Burning on the street or whatever, but it's just in those simpler times where like all that free love and all that stuff, like where they're just grooving and all that, like, or I guess that's why they call it like that groovy era, like the hippie era, all that type of stuff. Like those, I'm just saying, to live in those simpler times, like, but have this happen, that'd be kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, I think it'd be kind of, chill at the same time, because you still have like Marvin Gaye playing in the background and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah. But like, if you ever
Just the perspective,
if we need to put this into perspective, all you need to do is just go back and start reading stuff about like the Black Death and stuff like that. This doesn't even compare, like not even close, like of how like terrible it could be.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Like that's why it's like we can't really look at it from a standpoint of like, oh, we can't really look at it from a standpoint like, oh, we have a like, oh, like this is all going up. But at the same time, like having like somebody like unfortunately like Trump in office just doing his thing. I know they're trying to get him the fuck out of here, but and I'm hoping and as you know, it's just I say all that in the sense of divisiveness. I'm just saying all that in the sense of like within the whole pandemic situation to have all the nonsense going on in the US, which in turn rolls over on Canada, which in turn it's kind of like worldly in a sense that like don't get me wrong, I know like places like certain places don't really care, but I'm saying like it still somehow affects everything because it's like they're all looking at us like, look at these buffoons, just how they're running their shit. You know what I
mean? No, completely agree.
Like if we're supposed to reach somewhere as far as like a common goal or whatever, or it's always going to be a red versus a blue or whatever, right? Or like a conservative versus a liberal, a Republican versus a whatever, like a, you know what I mean, like Democrat. It is what it is, man. In the sense of this crappy way of how we're doing things,
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's the sad part. Like, and even up here,
but it's just again, just perspective.
And even up here, where we have options.
How different. But going even deeper than the options we have, it's like the two run the show. The other 3, 4, 5, whatever, small NDP, whatever, Green Party. Like, unfortunately, it's extremely hard for them to get into the place where the red or the blue is, because not enough people have been opening their eyes to try to read those newer groups' policies, and then you have different other people going above and beyond to tell them to like make it where it's like the prime minister's not doing his job and da 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 da, opposed to talking to the man on the side and saying, hey, bruh, you got to understand, if you're not out here to be making this move, these types of results can happen. But in the House of Commons, you see how it's basically like a playground, like a roast session. Like you just, oh yeah, well you ain't done this, well you ain't done that, and it's like you out here just roasting basically with other politicians, and then you have like a moderator basically saying, yeah, that was a good roast, and then like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's fucked up, man.
That was a good one, yo. Fuck you, your time's up. Next.
Because it's true. It's true. Yeah, it's like, that's a good roast. And then he just turns to the next person.
Oh man.
Can you speaker? That's lies. He's saying all that type of stuff.
Man, watching the states, like their whole, like the House of Representatives the other day, that's oof. You want to talk about like roasting each other. My God, some of them just roast themselves with just the shit they're saying. Like,
yeah, man. I feel like
hold this L.
It's kind
like
of funny
seriously.
Yeah, like you have two extremely elderly men going back and forth. If one of them were to perish right on that stage, you know how bad that would have been, bro. I'm saying that in the sense of getting their heart rates all excited over a debate. Like, for example, there are people who were born in the 40s still in office within the U.S. I don't know about Canada because I haven't done my research, but within the U.S. Senate,
probably
that's a problem,
too.
bro. You know what I mean, though?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a problem. That means you seen Martin Luther King get killed. Oh, that was just the mail coming through the. Yo, you seen Martin Luther King get killed. You seen Kennedy get killed. You see, like, you know what I mean? How much stuff you probably done seen, like, in the sense of like whether he was a little kid or not. Like, that's some scary stuff, bro. Like, you was 15 when you saw, like, you was 19 when you saw Martin. Like, you in office, bro, in the sense of like you should usher in a new group while you, I guess, teach them if you were on the right, hopefully on the right side of history. But other than that, it's like step down, bro. Like you should not be making no laws.
And just think
What we
about
doing?
where they, like that period of time when they were educated too, and how they were educated. And that's what's running us and the states. Like these people who grew up in the segregated societies and the people who grew up with that like mentality like that, this is what's running the countries now.
I don't know, man. It just makes you think like you were taught something as a child, and unfortunately, you may not have changed from that mentality. So it's like it's gonna that seed is only gonna grow into something. That's the seed is only gonna grow into something horrendous. You know what I mean? Yeah, yo. I don't know how to say it other than if you're gonna be of that age and you're gonna be destructive with words, or and not even if you can pretend. Like for example, like Joe Biden, for example. I'm not here trying to just be calling out, but it's like this is like when people speak publicly and they say different. When that one phone call got leaked of Joe Biden talking to that other person, he's roasting, he's just going in, and then it kind of sounded like when he was addressing black people, saying, it was like a smart remark saying like, uh, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. It's like, wait a minute, how are you gonna just say that? Just as far as like as if like, oh, I've done X, Y, and Z for black people, so if you don't vote for me, you're not black. But in the way he was saying it was like, there's arrogant, the audacity of this mother. But people are seeing these types of clips come out because unfortunately people be recording people when they're calling them, like you know what I mean, like and exposing it. Then it's like, oh shoot, like they're not playing games, like they're really on another level of hatred and pettiness that nobody's seeing. You know,
What goes on behind closed doors?
that's one of the hugest problems about like these people born in the 40s and 50s, and you know what I mean, still in office, just doing anything. It's like, yo, like, wait a minute, what we doing? Not saying a lot of the younger ones are better, but and don't get me wrong, like it's not this isn't necessarily a political podcast. Just like a little, you know, we give our perspective on what we feel. We want to give our perspective on, of course, you know how we do. But yeah, man, it's just something to think about. Like it's like, and because obviously it's broadcasted all over the news.
Yeah,
That's all you see when you go outside. COVID this and COVID that. Trump this, Biden that.
it's ridiculous. Like honestly, and like we were saying before, there was a lot of good things that happened this year that just we don't talk about, and that doesn't get talked about just because it doesn't sell. Which is crazy because everyone likes good news.
100%.
It makes no sense to me. I've never understood that concept.
You see, like when you see like when it's on like social media, it's like Facebook and stuff like that. And you see those puppies getting rescued or whatever, and like Buddy cleans them up and like adopts him and gets him all his shots, and you know what I mean. The next, you know, you see him 2 years later and he's like a big husky or whatever. I'm just saying as an example of like a good story. People love seeing that type of stuff, but then it's like you want to flip. But then you on the flip side, and it's like you see like a homeless person or something like that, and somebody's filming him, and people out here just being cruel and whatnot. And like some people are helpful, but it's like I'm just saying like the negative always seems to sell way more. Yeah, the positive doesn't get the shine it's supposed to, but it just sucks because as you pointed out, last year was such a quote unquote negative year. It seems like the good things didn't really have like the biggest effect, like the big like even though they still happened, the good things like it's like the bad things just overshadowed it because there's so much darkness. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like at the start of the year, bro, like when Kobe perished at the start of the year, in my opinion, bro, that was like the spiral. A few months later, we lost Black Panther. I said, wait a minute. I'm just saying, like, it's just, yo, they took Black Panther and Black Mamba. Like, I'm just saying, like, and like that's crazy, man. That's crazy. You know what I mean? But just in the sense of certain negatives that like kind of not even just them, but I'm saying like so many different stars. You know what I mean? Like, and last year, right? I know it's 2020, but even 2019, right? I don't know if you're familiar, but I don't know if you remember exactly. Like I know we technically just Google it, but do you remember when Bowie passed?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was it 2019?
2 seconds. I'm gonna check my
phone. Was that a long
here.
time? Yeah. No, I'm just asking because it's like even like I'm just saying like the what's his name? Chester Benningworth and different like I don't know all their names off by heart, but I'm saying like those just
that was 2016 for Bowie.
The gentleman from like Neil Peart, or I think it was Neil Peart.
Yeah,
Who
no,
was
it
it
was
that?
Neil Peart. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's just a few people who perished that, like, just put it over the last, like, let's just say 2018 up till now. Mac Miller, Nipsey Hussle.
Mhm.
Like, it just seemed like a cloud of just nonsense happening up till now. And I'm not saying it just because they're famous. I'm saying it from a sense of the impact. You just felt people's hearts breaking around the situation. And you're like, a different mood's happening. I say all that to say though, Trent's like, yo, that's why, like, granted, we can, within our own perspective, if we can just kind of push forward and make sure that, yo, man, each day I get up, yo, I'm gonna try to be a little bit better, like, or at least try, like, to get out of, if I was in a funk, for example, try to get out of it. Like,
Mhm.
it's to try that's important, because to try leads to the actual doing. You know what I mean? Like, because it's, yeah, man, it left a lot of people down and out, as far as, you've seen all the different things happening.
The one thing that's been sticking with
You
me
know what I mean? Like, people
recently.
losing jobs, people losing homes, et cetera, et cetera. And it's BS. It's BS. Like, I mean, if you could talk about it, please.
There is one thing you said there
Your
that really like
perspective.
resonated with something I've been thinking on a lot lately. It's it's the Boy Scout phrase: "Leave this place a little better than you found it." Like, clean it up, like make sure it's not all, fucked up when you left it behind you, basically.
100.
And
Yeah.
that's something I've
Yeah.
been and even in your personal life, it's something like we can do like that. Like, leave yourself a little better than the last day. It makes complete sense, but that's just something that we need to get back to, like, as a whole, like as people, like that mentality of like, we need to leave this place a little better than we found it the day before
It's what it.
and today.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Because, yeah, I don't think that we're supposed, like, it might sound wild to say it, but unfortunately, like, I feel like humans are kind of like the cancer on this planet, as far as, like, we destroy so much. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we say we're building, we say that we're building, but it's all ego based, and it's just personal, and it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and the next, like, it comes to a situation where you're like, oh man, like, we're really hurting the real thing that we're supposed to be building, aka walking around just watering all these plants and trees and stuff, and planting more trees. And that's what we should be doing, in the sense of it. But I say all that to say, because we're wearing masks right now for 90%. Whenever I'm at work, for example, because, I'm fortunate. I understand, like, I'm fortunate to, oh, you got a job, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's not how I look at it. But I'm just saying, from the standpoint of having to wear masks for 80% of your day, bro, is nonsense, because you're just kind of breathing in your own carbon dioxide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what happens if I'm hurting myself, man? What happens if I'm actually killing myself by wearing this mask slowly? I don't want to be doing that, and other people around me who have to wear masks for it. But I'm saying that to say, this is what it turns into, because this is the time we live in. It all ties into the fact of us destroying, because it's like, you're destroying what act like your actual, like, what you need to breathe, clear oxygen, fresh oxygen. Like, it's there's a blockage there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. They even say, like, those, like, certain surgical masks, like, when you breathe it, the heat of your breath releases certain chemicals within the fabrics of the mask. If that is true, I'm not saying it is, but if it is true, that's the kind of a savage thing to do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
have people breathing in. You know what I mean? It's like, think about it.
I know belching in the mask sucks. Holy, does that suck?
I mean, I get it. Like, but, yeah, man. Hey, but at the same time, at this point, because this is the first time this has happened within our situation, our society, we're kind of the guinea pigs, right? The people who are the first people taking the vaccine. Trent, I was in an elevator, and don't get me wrong, I don't have a stance as far as being like, oh, I am going to take it. I'm not going to take. I mean, I'm probably not going to take it, but I'm saying I'm not against anybody who chooses to take it. But what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is, there was a lady in the hospital, I guess, because we were in the elevator, and I guess she's a doctor, but she was saying to another person in the elevator, hey, bro, like, there was somebody in front of me who was like they basically saying, like, they ran out of vaccines before she can get to it or whatever, and it was getting upset because she was saying, like, well, I work with patients every day, blah 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 blah. Like, and I understand that, like, you're gonna have a fear because you're thinking, like, I work with patients every day, like, I don't want to get coughed on and get the COVID. But at the same time, it's like the way she was saying it was like, with the arrogance, like, yo, I'm before everybody. And I guess that's kind of how they chose to roll it out too. I think they're saying, like, oh, healthcare people and blah 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 have to get it first,
That's
and then the
exactly it.
rest. It's like, because during these times, healthcare people are the ones, I guess, dealing with them, and that's the truth. But everybody's kind of dealing with them, in the sense of, if you have to go on the subway, if you have to go on a public situation to get to where you have to get to, you can be dealing with somebody who has it but just didn't report it. Stuff's real, man.
Yeah, we can go to work and catch it there, but we can't go see our family. That's the thing that really pissed me off about all this. Like, go to work where you're more likely to catch it, but go around your family where you're like, just you're going to be more apt to catch it around your family than you are at work. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, and it makes you think. Like it causes me to it's like a cause for pause. Like it causes me to think, okay, well, let me hold on a second and genuinely go over this. Like it's just there's too many again like uncertainties, situations where it's not clear. Like there's no clarity on, like for example, to express that there's going to be a curfew, like in a Ottawa or whatever, like to express like or wherever it is out there where they're saying like, oh, you have to like I think it's 8 p.m. or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. You have to be off the streets or whatever, and people are getting fines. In those scenarios, Trent, it kind of trips me out because you think about it like, okay, they said that the virus is only going to be able to spread, they stay 6 feet apart. The coronavirus can't, if you're 7 feet apart, the coronavirus can't get you. But if you're 5 feet apart, the coronavirus can get you. Then they say, hey, bro, make sure you're wearing your mask. If you're wearing your mask, you should be good. Clearly, that's not the case because cases still rising, all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're saying sanitize your hands. People are sanitizing their hands, wearing gloves, et cetera, et cetera. All the cases are still rising at rapid rates to the point where they're saying, oh, it's as if the pandemic just started. It's the second wave, but it's even bigger than the first. And you're thinking to yourself, how is it that we're taking these precautions? And although, yes, some people aren't listening, I can't disagree that some people aren't listening, bro. But to say that no one, like as if no one's doing the measures, like me working at a hospital, bro, mad people are sanitizing their hands and wearing masks and stuff like that, like, and staying 2 feet apart and stuff like that. No one's perfect, but I'm saying, like, unless you're like eating lunch, you still are going to be like a good distance apart, but you're just, your mask is off, unfortunately. But, and there's mad different hospitals and stuff like that within the city. So I'm just saying, like, yo, Trent, how can these people say these 6 feet apart, mask, hand sanitizer, but the cases are rising faster than they ever have. There's new high like death records every day, and it's like, how? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's why it just makes me feel super uneasy about the situation, because it's like, respectfully, they have to keep on forcing us stuff to make us keep on like believing that it's as harsh as it is and as real as it is. Not saying it's not real. I'm saying in the sense of like as crazy as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But please, if you can give your perspective on it.
I don't even know, man. Like at this point in the time, like I just want this shit to be over and done with. Like whatever it fucking takes. If it means I have to take a poke in the arm, I'll take a poke in the arm.
Trust me, me too.
If that's it, like I can deal with that. Like I've already been vaccinated for a lot of other things that killed a lot of like thousands and thousands of people, like polio. I got vaccinated for that when I was younger. You know what I mean?
No, but that's the thing. The same flu that we're talking. But Trent, the same flu that we're talking about. Let's just say September, October of 2019. The same random flu that we talk about, influenza, was still killing people like this COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, we didn't go through all these situations, all these and I know this is a new strain, and I get it, but I'm saying like, even developing the flu shot, taking like a whole bunch of different like older flu versions or whatever and combining it and then giving it to you and having your body fight it or whatever, so you build immunity. Okay, but that's kind of like, what's the vaccine for coronavirus? You know what I mean? Like, and that's only saying, like, I'm not going into like don't take the vaccine or do take I'm saying it from a standpoint of the speed that they came up with this, the effectiveness rate. Dr. Fauci talking about is 94.6% or whatever on the 2 different versions that we're working with who have passed clinical trials, saying that it's 94% effective. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if it works, okay, it works, but it's a vaccine, right? Not an antidote. That's like scary. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, okay, we gotta get to an antidote though, because if that's the case, we're gonna kind of have remnants of this, just like the regular flu now. How like we still go about it every day, like it is what it is, but we know we have vaccines for it. It's gonna eventually be like that. I'm assuming it's gonna eventually just be like that. Oh, yo, just get the flu shot, or oh, just get the COVID. Go get the COVID shot because it's like the flu shot. Even though, unfortunately, certain cases it's not effective. Like you may have seen when that one nurse took the vaccine. Unfortunately, she fainted and all that. And it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing? I'm not trying to pass out as soon as I get injected. That'd be an unfortunate way. You know what I mean? That's what happened. You
It's
passed
happened
out.
to me. It's happened to me a couple times when I've gotten, more specifically when I've taken like getting blood
Needle. It might have
taken.
just been from the shock of the needle.
That's
Okay,
pretty
but
much
that's
what it
different
was.
because that's yeah, because you're probably feeling like real fatigue or whatever after that. Like
I
you'll
hate
have you feeling
needles.
drained after you get like blood work done in that. Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I totally get you. I don't like them either, but I totally get you. So like I understand like passing out, but maybe it was that. Maybe it was from that, not the vaccine. But
It was
yeah,
100%
man.
that. Like for me,
Nah.
anyways.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you like started to feel like woozy and stuff. You started to like you might have started to feel woozy when you felt the needle. I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
Twice.
Yeah.
There
I
was
totally yeah.
it was both for like
Yeah.
hepatitis, one of those ones we got vaccinated for like back in the early days. But yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much fainted after both of those.
No, I get it. I totally get it. And that
and
makes
if you
sense. That makes
and if you
sense.
sit me up to
Yeah,
take
man.
my
Don't get me wrong.
and if you sit me up like this to take my blood, I'm passing out every time. Every time.
Okay. Okay.
So they have to lay me
Hey,
down
bro.
to like draw blood for me. That's the only way it'll work.
No, and that makes sense. But I mean, we all have our like our idiosyncrasies and stuff, like idiosyncrasies or whatever. Like that, we all have our what makes us us. And don't get me wrong, that's not a flaw at all. Like because we're not supposed to have large amounts of blood or good amounts of blood drawn from us just to be drawn from us. Like they should be able to get a good enough sample size from a small vial with the technology we have. So when you see the lady take the one tube out, then she pops another one in, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, why you need more? Like, but apparently it's like, yeah, you're like starting to pass out. You're like, why do you need more? But nah, yeah, that's funny.
I'm turning this color
No,
right
it's just,
here.
yeah, you're just about to eat. That's like, at that point, the nurse should be like, we're about to lose him. He's about to pass out at that point. Because once you start to get that white, even a melanated person like myself, a black person like me, once I start to fade and start getting real light, and you tell this like I'm getting pale, something's wrong with me. Get me to like, well, I'm in a hospital, but get me some IVs or something. Don't let me just perish. Like what the heck? Like
Get some more apple
yo,
juice into you.
oh, he about to faint from the needle, and then all of a sudden now they want to act up and like. But I'm sure you tell them like you've told them multiple times. I'm sure like, oh yo, like I'm trying to lay down.
Oh, 100% every time now.
I'm like, I'll pass out if I don't lay down type stuff. Oh, you don't say, oh, you never, okay.
Every
Well, I
time
mean, you
now.
gotta let them know if you. Okay, good, yeah.
Because it's because like
good.
I'm not gonna I don't
Yeah,
like
man.
passing out. I was having this conversation with Pool the other day. I'd rather if it was gonna happen like that, I'd rather just get like choked out or knocked out because it's like instant sort of thing. But when you're passing out, you see it come on for so much longer, and that's the worst part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd rather
Yeah, no,
not. So
100%. And that's yeah.
get that shit
Facts.
right out of the way.
Facts. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, man. At least we're learning, right? This is a pilot episode, you know. This is a pilot.
Exactly. This is what it's there for.
I'm eventually it's gonna be. Yeah, no, but eventually we're gonna be on that Jimi Hendrix, bro. I'm gonna be out here. Excuse me while I kiss the sky, and I'm out here just. Eventually, I know. Hey, get it in. Don't let me stop you. Don't let me stop you. Get it in.
Oh, boy.
After we're done here, I might have to, myself. There you go. Get your mind right. That's so funny, but that's okay. Yeah, man, that one's definitely a huge upgrade from from the other little guy, Mister. Is it Mister? I'll ask you when you're done. I think it's Mister the green and
Ziggy.
yellow one. What was his name again? I'll be tripping. Ziggy. I forgot. Ziggy.
He's still around, but I don't use him nearly as much.
But that's the thing. It's like you got a new muse in your life now. That's the new muse. So you got to pay attention to her.
Yeah, that one. That one's a bit of a different story with that
man.
one.
I feel like you know how it go, but that's the thing. Like me, I like the little portable ones because usually I'm on a go type thing, right? So like that's when you'll find me. Rain, snow, shine, whatever. Like you can still do your thing, right?
That's what that one's for, basically. Now.
That's that. And especially if you find like a little cool little hang, like say like how you like hiking, right? Like see even like for example like to one day do it where like you know what I mean like you might be on your phone but you're in the trails and I might be you know what I mean and then we can do one from that and just you know what I mean give them a different perspective, you know, like be on that when nature calls type stuff. Trent's in the wilderness is running through
Well, that was
waterfalls and
my
stuff. You all hear I'm live from the waterfalls.
that was my first video for Uplift Ultra. Was just like just clips of like hiking
Mhm.
compilations that I'd done from 2019. So it was the summer before that I'd done all of it. So so yeah, I've got a lot of like just a lot of stuff in there, but I had to take out all like the
Okay.
bongs and stuff and me smoking joints stuff. I didn't want to have all that in so much. Oh,
I
I don't have a
understand.
picture of
Yeah,
it. Damn, I was trying to find the picture of it here on my
I understand.
phone. Because I went to this one spot and almost died that day. That was another day. Almost died getting over to this one spot, literally climbing
Oh,
to
that's
it.
not good.
And then afterwards, I sat down and just ripped Ziggy for like a good hour, and I called the place Stoner's Bluff.
Okay, that's how it's got to be though, man. It's like finding those serene moments in life where it might not be for too long, but at least it's like a strong little 20 minutes, and you're just like, okay, that was cool. That was cool. I found a little bit of peace right there, and then you like just kind of continue on, you know.
That's how I survived 2020.
As I moved out here though, Trent, like you know, and that's I'm glad. Trust me, I'm glad you did, man. For real, I'm glad you did because like again, it's easy for us to get it like into a dark place when like certain nonsense is happening. You know what I mean? And like it's good that we can stay afloat and make sure we keep pushing. It's truly like a blessing because not a lot of people see it like that. It's like a strength and it's something that like people really do have to build up to and like attack every day. Like wake up and just be ready to attack the day. Like not everybody is built up to that, but we all can build up to that if we want to, right? That try part.
Exactly.
Like that's what I genuinely mess with, you know. That's what I'm saying. I'm really glad that you did. You know what I mean? Like you and others chose to like stick in there and keep moving. You know, keep moving forward. Like yo, I'm not having the greatest year, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. You know what I mean? I'm glad that y'all do that. We're out here. We're all out here doing that right now. Like all my close guys that I talk to are doing that, and I'm glad. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not everything's perfect, but we still out here pushing.
Yeah,
You know,
especially like especially around here. Like I don't know so much around you, but like I've had a couple people like I went to school with kill themselves now because of just living around this area and whatever they were going through. So like
yeah,
after the last one, yeah, everyone was just like, all right, no more of this. Like the guys are like, if you're struggling, say something. Like it was like it was a thing beforehand, but now it's even more of a thing. And I hate that it had to just take like a couple people, you know, killing themselves to get to that point. But here we are, and
no, and that's
I'd rather have this now than like it not. So for better or for worse, here we are.
yeah, man. Like that's it's something that you got to look forward to as far as like being able to identify that and know okay man like I know I'll go over that edge and I don't want to go over that edge. So when my buddies are reaching out to me, let me actually try to talk to them or let me actually X Y and Z so that I don't end up hurting myself
Mm-hmm.
Y Z. Because yeah man like that's the one of the more sadder things about it how like younger people are doing that, right? They it's like it's as if we don't understand the like the value of life in our lives like of us, you know what I mean? Like it sucks sometimes that we get to those points, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it's like you don't always know the cause. I'm just simply saying like if somebody was able to just hug them a little bit longer, you feel me? Like or if somebody was able to just kind of let them know they're important a few more times, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like you could, you know, it's the hurtful ones, the ones where you genuinely feel like you could have prevented them is what I'm talking about, you know, like
Yeah,
you
completely.
see buddy stop coming, you see buddy stop coming around more and more, like he's slowly but surely coming around less if it was a group of y'all. You know what I mean? And you're like thinking to yourself, hey man, what happened? What happened to Trevor? And then all of a sudden, like everybody, oh man, you know, he don't hang with us. And then all of a sudden, you hear some nonsense happen with him, and it's like, dang, he was just with us. And I feel like a lot of times we kind of get to that point. Not on not to and not don't get me wrong, not that we're ending it right this second, but not to end like on a low note. Like it's more just we're just the fact that we are having a genuine conversation. I appreciate it, Trent, for real, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like you think about it, like that's why I genuinely I'm expressing it to you like on air, so to speak. But obviously, you know, I've expressed this before. But please, if ever you need to have a conversation with me or need like, even if it's something I can assist with, seriously, like whether it's financially, whatever, holler at me because I genuinely appreciate you. You know how it is. Like we've been put in a situation where we've crossed paths for a reason. I'm hoping that it's for not just for a season, it's for a lifetime. You're a good guy, you know what I mean?
Well said.
And we gotta keep like, but that's what it turns into, right? Because there might be friends who you had friends in like, oh, we was friends since the third grade, and you don't necessarily, you might meet somebody 3 years ago and you guys have a better bond than the person you met in the third grade because they're on the same frequency or wavelength as you. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I'm saying like the fact that we met up in 2011, like we was out here tripping in King's Court, just tripping. But it just, those were the times, right? Like that's why it makes you think like, yo, like it's a good foundation, solid, like now we could slowly but like surely grow that, man. Like it ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, but again, it goes back to just saying like, hey man, we matter. So just if ever you want to talk or if ever I feel like I want to talk, like, yo, we got to reach out. You know what I mean? Like,
I appreciate that, and same to you.
So but on another note though, look, I was watching, like I was listening to some of the what's his name? Is it Tricky Reed? Is that
Tricky? Yeah, Tricky.
The guy you about the jiu-jitsu?
Tricky. Tricky's
the MX,
Reed's
like
his
the
last
MMA.
name.
Like, okay, Tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So Tricky. No, man, he's a cool dude and stuff. Like, even on Facebook, like he liked some of the posts I was sharing or whatever. And I was just like, yo, man, he's a solid dude. Like, but I say all that to say, like, it's dope because, like, even if I came up there, I hope that I'd be able to. Well, I know like the gyms and stuff are closed down now, but I'd hope that I'd be able to learn from him through you, like introducing or whatever, if ever I had a comment, like or whatever. But yeah, man, because people like that are interested. And it's like you want to slowly but surely build more connections. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. He's got his own YouTube channel too now.
And like that's kind of the basis of why I was saying that. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just, yeah, man, we have I'm just saying we got opportunities and I'll start to grow more. We'll start to grow more and more as far as just, you know, like putting our perspective out there. But yeah, man, like in my opinion, there's a lot of bright things coming in the future. Like we just got to work for them, keep working for them, you know?
Exactly.
We'll get there, Trent. That's the main thing I want to say. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we started. It's a matter of a start, right?
Exactly.
Again, this episode might be choppy, all types of nonsense, but stay with us, people. Stay with us, because sometimes we forget like that. This for the people that we're doing this, but stay with us. I'm starting.
They're not even here. It's for us.
Take our time and hopefully, yeah. I know. All right. I know this is actually therapy. I'm just trying to get some of my thoughts out to my homie. You know what I mean? But some of these thoughts, you know, this is therapy. But yeah, man, it's good. It's good, man. Like, yeah, like I don't know if you have any like I don't know when the whole editing process or whatever, like or if it's just a matter of we just kind of, it's going to be like this, and then underneath the video on YouTube or whatever, we can put all our stuff so that they can make sure they contact us. And
that's how I do it. It's much easier that way.
Tap in with us and all that, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And instead of trying to like mess with the video, because I don't want to.
And I just put little cards, so I just put like and subscribe across the bottom of it.
Okay.
So it doesn't fuck with the flow or anything like that. You just put it in post.
No, yeah, because I'm trying to learn like you in regards, like eventually we'll start doing like screen sharing and stuff. Like if ever I wanted to bring up like an internet page and be like, Trent, look at this what happened today. And then because I see some dudes doing it and like it makes sense, and it's like it shows the listeners or the viewers and the listeners can hear it where we're talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's definitely a different wrinkle to this like, game.
Learn more. It's just because I am. Yeah, it's starting something new, and it's like, hey, people, there might be ups, downs, whatever, but this is us. We like what we're doing, and we're choosing to do this. Rock with us. You know what I mean? Like we'll learn more about each other together. You feel me?
Amen.
But yeah, so hey, I'm Graham.
I'm Trent.
This man over here is Trent, and we. I'm like, why is he going to introduce us?
It's the lag.
I know it wasn't necessarily. It wasn't. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, bro. And this is a little episode.